Okay, it's the 16th of June, basically the middle of June. I've come to Macquarie Shopping Centre to hopefully find that bloody Thomas & Friends new classic stuff. It's been really tricky to find. This toy hunt has really tested me. I've lost count of the times that I've come to the shops looking for this new Thomas stuff. Warning. The warning on this video has been removed, and this video is intended for people who have a mature mindset. If you're a snowflake style of person, this video is not for you. Okay, Big W at Macquarie Centre, they've got their whopping big toy sale on. Nice big window display here. And what really makes this toy hunt difficult is so few retailers now carry Thomas & Friends stuff. And let's see if Thomas & Friends is represented in the front window here. Okay, looking for Thomas & Friends, so I'm not seeing it anywhere here. Yeah, so maybe that's the big problem. Before I go in, I'll pick up one of the catalogues. Okay, you beauty. Okay, the big whopping toy sale. It's always here mid-year in Australia. It's our winter time, so you get your Christmas presents now at a good price, if that makes any sense. I am looking for the Thomas & Friends stuff. Yeah, just letting you see the layout of the store here, which I think it's very impressively laid out, I have to admit. But I am looking for Thomas & Friends and that new classic stuff. Okay, there's Bluey there. Oh my goodness me, my heart rate's starting to go up and starting to get a bit panicky. Just taking some deep breaths. Anxiety building as I'm not finding this. Oh God, I can't believe this. Oh man, okay, let me just go and look over. I'll just go like over there. As I head over there, we can see Paw Patrol. Oh man, all the clothes are here. It's almost like I could do a Where's Thomas video number 2, couldn't I? I'm not seeing Thomas & Friends anywhere along there in clothes. Oh man, where in the flippin' hell is it? I'm at the over there part that I spoke about. I'm going to have to traverse the whole store. I can't see Thomas & Friends in this. I'll call it the key area of this sale. I'm just going to double round without videoing. I'm just going to double look through here again. I'm at the other side of the whole toy sale area. Man, I've done the whole walkthrough. I've seen plenty of Mattel stuff, but not Thomas & Friends in this zone. Astonishing. Normally I would have found one area of Thomas & Friends stuff historically. It's been like that here, but it seems to be a little bit different this year. Okay, it might be very prudent to take a look at the catalogue here, and I spoke about the front window and how Thomas was devoid in the front window. Well, I had to look through this a couple of times, and of course we're going to look at the preschool area. I do like the way this is set up. We've got colouring pages along the way, a bit of there's some great stuff here, a bit of Minecraft stuff we just went flash through. Okay, you can see how it's all segregated up into its different areas. We've got dolly section here, and I have pulled to the side here the preschool area where the Thomas & Friends stuff normally resides. I'm very familiar with this toy sale. I've come here many times over the years, and boy oh boy was I hugely disappointed when I found out what was for offer here. Now remember, we're looking for Thomas & Friends. They used to be represented really well during the toy sales here in previous years. Okay, I've seen all sorts of other things here which are well represented. Okay, we've come to the page where Thomas & Friends is, and this is the part that really fried me. Let's take a closer look here. Thomas & Friends have this on offer at the Big W mid-year toy sale in Australia, and that is very underwhelming. Now, one of the places there is the one that I spoke about so often when I went to my local Target store. This one here is a thing that just doesn't sell. I think they had it for $23 on special, and that's the table I often spoke about as well. That is, well, seeing that speaks volumes of where we're at the moment. It really does. That is very lackluster. I've seen far grander offerings in previous mid-year toy sales. And another thing that I noticed, and I'll just go through here, I'll just point out something. Notice it's the VTech side, Leapfrog. Okay, it's all segregated up into the different companies. VTech again, Fisher Price. Okay, and if I go back a bit, and this is the bit that really, there's a lot of things jarring on me today. Okay, this page here, we've got a whole page devoted to Bluey, right? Bluey there. We've got a whole page devoted to Paw Patrol. Paw Patrol at the top here, all Paw Patrol. Where in the frippin' hell's Thomas? You know, that's the thing. Those there, that's a newish thing around. I don't understand that. Probably makes a whole lot of noise. Yeah, so you can see Bluey gets a page, Paw Patrol gets a page. Okay, and Thomas gets this little tiny thing there. My God, how the empire has fallen. Oh boy, I'll head up to the traditional Thomas and Friends area in the toy department in this store. I hope I can find something worthwhile to look at. Okay, the traditional Thomas area in this store is here. Oh my God, just at a glance it looks no different to before. I can't freaking believe this. Oh, hang on a second. Oh, I think I can see something exciting. Let me just drag the camera down here so you can see what's going on here. The thing I spoke about in the catalogue. Well, one of them's there and the other one is down on the bottom there. And if I go up here, and if I go like this, and if I go like this, oh my God, I can't believe it. Finally, I found some of the 80th anniversary stuff. It was being masked by that Diesel there, naughty Diesel. I found it, James. I can't believe this. Frippin' hell, one of the hardest toy hunts I've ever had to have. And I've also found, looks like there's 2 Thomases here. Oh, great. And guess who's going to grab the 2 Thomases? Me, as greedy and as horrible as that sounds. Okay, one there and the other one is here. Fripping hell, I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. This looks completely and utterly spiffo, I can tell you. This is spectacular. And when I got excited about this in store, there's some people watching me at the moment. They think I'm a nut job. I think they got excited about it as well. But guess what? I grabbed it and guess where it went? Straight in my bag. I'll quickly show you who's here. The crapple's going to crap out because I got the light on. Since I ever did the update on my phone, it has caused nothing but trouble. Okay, you can see who's there. There's actually a couple of whiffs here. And it's on the wrong peg. They're not $12. Okay, there's another whiff there. There's Canna, and there's a Thomas. Okay. Yeah, really, part of me saying to pick up this stuff here and put it maybe there or there. Okay, for the twin packs, as I'll call them, this is what we've got here. Oh, okay, well, yeah. Okay, wow, these were masked behind everything else. I am getting some more stuff here. Oh, okay, got Nia. Okay, first time I've ever been excited about grabbing a Nia, ever. There is the 80th stuff here. Oh, there's Thomas, cool. Okay, we are on the Discovery here, literally, because it is all hidden away. So you've got to look for the 80th tag on the top. They're very well hidden there. I'll just pull Diesel down for a second. Okay, it doesn't look like there's anything else here. Okay, well, very interesting. Very well hidden, so that's what I've grabbed. Thomas, it looks awesome, although it doesn't have the white running board and troublesome truck needs a face. Okay, Nia. God, can't they just scrap her? Haven't we had enough of Nia? And I've got Percy, and I think a lot of people are saying that's a very nice rendition of Percy. Cool, they're going in my bag as well. And the problem is if I'm only finding one, I've got nothing to unbox. Okay, I'm just getting back on track here. Sorry for the pun. And the battery is about to crap itself. Just of note here, there's quite a few Percys here. Okay. That is the old, well, AEG style Percy motorized. Oh, the ones now, of course, want to collapse here. I'll try to make Percy sell. There you go. Done the right thing. Babyfied AEG. Okay, a couple of Thomases here, a couple of Percys. Percy's right at the back. These here, these are new here. These weren't here last time I was here. Okay. It looks like another box of the Thomas Minis has appeared. Of course, I've grabbed a couple of 3-packs. Still haven't found Beach in there or the Diesel with the Carnival Ride, blah, blah. Of course, those there, which I think are going to be here for another 1,000 years. Lots of that set there. And going right down the bottom here, it's that table set there, which is one of the specials at the Toy Sale. Just raking from the bottom and going up to the top. I'm still not used to having no music blaring here. The store is dead quiet. It's spooking me. There's actually a set here that I neglected to talk about, and it's one that I liked. I've reviewed this set. Got the light shining there, sorry. And these seem to struggle to sell. I just had a chat to a shopper here who buys a bit of Thomas stuff, and they said a very interesting thing that I didn't think about. And they said that, well, their children, as they explained, didn't like it when Thomas wasn't blue. And that set there, Thomas certainly is not blue. I learn a lot of things by talking to customers in store, and so many times I've helped customers understand the Thomas & Friends brand. So many times I've helped them make the right choices when buying this stuff. I'll be honest here, I didn't think this day was going to come. It felt like an eternity trying to find this. I felt like the last person online to find this stuff. It looks beautiful. I think people are calling it Trackmaster 3, or is it Trackmaster 4 by now? And look at the revelation here. Look at that. Wow, we actually understand what else to collect. Now, I've got to try and find it. That's the challenge. But I'm just happy that I've got my first initial bit of boogie here to play with. Finally. Just walking around the store, I've noticed in my busy books and the infamous Thomas & Friends All Engines Go variation. Oh boy, I like looking into that. And I see it's got a special price here. That's the price there. And if you want to be reminded of the glory inside this pack, just have a nice sweet look at that there. Beautiful. Looking into this My Busy book was a very difficult video to make. I had to make a lot of comparisons and make sure what I was saying was correct. But let's just rejoice, we've actually got All Engines Go Thomas & Friends My Busy book for sale here. Let's be happy about little things, eh? Interesting to see who's out in the aisles. How to Train Your Dragon. Okay, Bluey's got another area here. Blue is really well represented. Then we've got Fisher Price. Okay, this is one of the aisles heading up to the front of the store. We've got Hot Wheels, which is well represented in this toy sale. Then we've got Polly Pocket. It looks like Monster High's next to that. And then a whole stack of Barbie stuff. I mean, Barbie is really, really, really well represented in this toy sale. But not Thomas. Okay, I'll get out of here and I will pay for this stuff. I better show this for the disbelievers. I didn't shoplift that stuff. I did pay for it. I bought a pair of shorts as well. I'm just in my car in the car park trying to revive my phone, and there is a Thomas playset in this catalog that I missed, but I didn't see this playset for sale in the Big W that I just walked out of. And it's here. It's in the half price section, and it's that playset there. I'll just categorize it like this. It's an All Engines Go playset with a giant one-trick pony, but the one-trick pony is cranky. So I'll let it off for that. I think it'd be quite a nice set to get. It's an extremely good price, I tell you. $52 for that set there. I'd be getting it if I could find it. That playset there may have easily sold out considering its price. I was a bit late getting to the toy sale this year. What I'm going to do is I'm going to head home, and I'm pretty sure I've got toy sale catalogues from a couple of years ago. I think that's going to be very interesting to look at versus the one I have in 2025. Good old toy catalogues, a very essential tool that I had to have back when I used to do, as in past tense, toy reviews on YouTube. Of course, these days we can't go there because of the ridiculous YouTube Kids environment. And looking back on these, it's very interesting. It's almost worthy of a solo video all by itself, and I can go backwards in time here. I want you to tell me the eras this is from. I want to see how smart you are. Back when you had boys' toys and girls' toys. You don't see that going on anymore. And back in this era, this was the Thomas & Friends stuff on offer at the mid-year toy sale. And now Bubble, God, Bubble is going to interfere. Hey, Bubble, I've got to get this done. Come on, girl, off the table. Bubble, come on, get down, please. Come on, please. She's going to be persistent. Bubble, come on. Back when we had Octonauts and Thomas together. A big clue to that era. And I had a lot of Octonaut stuff. A lot. My daughter loved Octonauts. Back when toy catalogues, and Bubbles now sitting on that, had segregated boys and girls areas. Bubble, you're making it very difficult to do something here, and I've really got to get this done. Come on, off the table. Come on, good girl. Oh, goodness me, Bubble. Come on, please, please. Okay, I'm bubble free, so we had a look at this one here. This is the next one along. I'm not going to talk about years here. I want you to be smarter than me. And I think by this time we might have... Oh, we've still got boys and girls toys here. Okay, I think I saw girls in there somewhere. Yeah, there's girls there. That's quite interesting, isn't it? And this was what was on offer, and there's a whole page of it here. Big W, mid-year toy sale. So I'm going to go in closer in here. The gold Thomas there is very much a clue to this era here. But what's on offer there? I mean, there's a lot of classic stuff there. It's, well, the beginning of Trackmaster 2 when I see a set like this as well. How things have changed, hey? We'll get on to the next one. Once again, I'm not going to talk about the year here. And I've got a bookmark area here. Okay. Okay, what's on offer here? Let me just get this. Let me take that away for a sec. And looking at the whole page here, you can see the Thomas and French stuff is on this side here. Once again, Big W mid-year toy sale. Is that giving you a clue to the era of the Thomas stuff here? Oh man, that is an absolutely all-time classic set there. Imagine how much that one there is pulling on eBay right now. And because I can, I will put that playset for real on my bench here. Just a spectacular Thomas and Friends playset. You know, when they get it right, they get it really right. But boy, oh boy, when they get it wrong, it's a frippin' giant train wreck. Unfortunately, we've seen way too many train wrecks. With Bubble helping again, the interesting aspect to this playset here is if you're a child playing with that playset back in the day, you'd be on the cusp of being an adult now. I'm almost giving away the age of this playset. How time flies, hey? And this playset was excellent because it had no one-trick ponies. Everything on that panel there was good stuff. Even Bubble's very impressed with that one. She knows her stuff, I can tell you. We're getting a bit derailed here, aren't we, Bubble? I'll gently put that one away. Nice and gently. Oops. It's on the ground now, Bubble. Now she's going to check it out. Bye. Back to the catalogues again. And this is an interesting era because of the way things were categorized. All of a sudden, if I go back to the front here and we'll take a look at the categories, how they're split up. You couldn't say boys and girls anymore. It was divided up into different segments as you see along the top of the pages there. Different days. And looking at bikes, it didn't gender them to boys or girls bikes. It just says kids bikes. And you probably don't notice this unless you've been through the time when things were gendered boy versus girl. Oh, look at that there. Back in the good old days when you had a Thomas and Friends balance bike. God, you don't see that anymore. And these days, a little boy could play on either of those. No problem at all. There's many things in these catalogues which are very interesting. And look at this here. It's Little Tykes, and it looks like Scoop from Bob the Builder. But is that Scoop from Bob the Builder there? It's quite interesting going back and looking at the old toy catalogues. A couple of memories of franchises that are still popular today. And more curiously, franchises which petered out and basically were flash in the pans. And the toy industry sees children's generation as every 6 years. So maybe you'll see something appear at 6 yearly gaps. And I think the other thing that these point out to me is that, and I've known this for a while, is that toy prices haven't really changed that much versus a lot of the other things that we deal with in the world. Okay. So yeah, I've got all sorts of different catalogues here, all sorts of different memories. Of course, when Toys R Us collapsed, I think that really hurt Mattel. There was a symbiont relationship between Toys R Us and Mattel. And, you know, you go back in time here, you see what was on offer, you see the prices, and you think, wow, yeah, the good old days. But there's actually a franchise that was a very curious one that got rebooted, and it flopped hard after the reboot. And some franchises, they can take a lot of stuffing around, and others take very little to be killed off. The original Bob the Builder show had a very particular style to it, but also had DNA that was directly connected to the different characters that were within the show. It seems a CGI reboot had totally disconnected with the important aspects that needed to happen within the show. Curiously here, I've actually got an Icy Scoop. Now, it's normal native price. Well, let's call it $9. You might have picked it up for $10 if you were paying too much. Well, I've got one here. Look at this here. I remember seeing this stuff in store, not selling, and then it was getting dumped into shops where unpopular stuff gets sold. I picked that Icy Scoop up for the glorious price of $3. What could possibly go wrong in rebooting a show and totally changing its DNA? We are very lucky to still have Thomas and Friends around. It seems to be a little bit more robust than Bob the Builder. Maybe Bob the Builder can come and fix it for us. I also found an Icy Muck. Guess how much I paid for the Icy Muck from the reject shop? $3 glorious. Well, that there's 2015 era copyright, if I believe what's said on the back of the box there. Let me just put those away gently. Let me clear the toy catalogues off the table gently as well. Woo! And let me bring on, very quickly, some Bob the Builder toys to tease you. Down on the table there, I've got two different scales of the character Scoop from Bob the Builder. I've got a lot of collectibles from both the classic show and also the CGI reboot. Now, by looking at the toys, can we understand why the reboot failed and why the classic remains a classic to this day. And maybe I should just show you very quickly what I've got collected up, and one day I'll pull it together as a video. I've got 3 tubs of Bob the Builder stuff. 2 of them is the classic Bob the Builder collectibles, without using the word toy. That one there's the newer merchandise from the reboot, and this is very much reminding me of when we had a charity shop, and this all came automatically through that in a sense. And it was one of those things, the lady who ran the shop there, and they said, Leo, we get a lot of Bob the Builder stuff that comes through. You can see the prices of this stuff. Okay, there's a lot of repetition of the same character going on as well. Yeah, it's not a franchise that I'm strong with, and that's what scares me. It's scary to do something that you don't know much about. You know, I've got the merchandise like this. It was actually being collected very similar to the Thomas stuff. Again, you can see the price there. Okay, occasionally you get a bit of media come through. Once again, you can see the price that was on it. You know, things like that. Like a tote case down there. A scoop tote case. And I've even found, when I used to do Dark Side stuff, I found a bit of Bob the Builder knockoff stuff, and that is just rotten to the core, I can tell you. And this is the box of the newer merchandise. And I mean, I picked this up for cheap as chips. This was just literally being thrown out of the stores. It was astonishing to see the price collapse on this stuff. But I tell you what, when you tinker with the DNA of something and you tinker with it a bit too much, it doesn't take much for a classic franchise to be totally destroyed. I'm sort of thinking how many other franchises were done over when they started to tinker with the DNA of a show. Maybe you can leave a comment on this video of some of the ones that you know about that I probably don't know about. Anyway, we've taken a look at Bob the Builder toys very quickly. One day we will get around to making a video. I will very gently remove these from the table, like this. Went out crying as well. Oh, and he's making his noise. Oh, yes. Okay, we'll talk about this next, and I will not be unboxing this one. I've only got one at the moment. It's got a printing error. Okay, so that's going to stay right where it is. And let me just discuss a strategy I'm going to use on this one here. For me, it's still a shock to the system to see what looks like one of the all-time greatest Thomas the Tank served up from Mattel as a new toy. It's almost too pretty to unbox, but when I take a look at this 3-pack, I'm going to be very carefully looking at what Thomas is dragging along here, and that is the troublesome trucks. When making a comparison of what's deemed a classic troublesome truck, would it be unfair to compare it to a classic Trackmaster troublesome truck here? This one's made by the Hit Toy Company, marked as 2006. It has an opening feature like this, and it's got an absolutely classic troublesome truck face. Now, what's very unusual is I can bring up its twin sister here, and these troublesome trucks, when you look at them, they look basically identical. They've got the same moving features. And what's curious about the one I've just brought up here is it's made by Mattel and it's marked as 2009. Or would the comparison be more fair if I brought up a 2019 troublesome truck and compare it to what's being served up as classic in 2025? These are spectacular offerings. We needed this. It's happened probably just in the nick of time. We have learned that Thomas & Friends is more resilient versus Bob the Builder. And it's curious when I take a look at James here, there's a couple of things that I've noticed, and I know other people are talking about this. I know that when you couple this up natively on the track, this gap becomes a lot larger. The coupling is actually being tucked right down and hidden away there. And the other thing I notice here is the line through here, which is curious because if I line the ruler up there with the tender, and then you see James is riding high, as in the running board is up, popped up much higher there. It's very noticeable in box. Now I'll take the ruler away. Now you can see it, and maybe another illustration of that is if I bring in a James that I recently reviewed, and it's this AEG splash tank James, and if I go on and look at the running board of James versus his tender, it's a straight line there. Now if I take Splash Tank James away, possibly you'll notice it more now. So it looks like the connecting rod has changed the way these toys are designed. So in a sense we've gained something, but we've also lost something else along the way. Another important comparison is going to be between Thomas, Annie and Clarabelle of 2020, and after that came the slap in the face of All Engines Go. On the table there, which one do you naturally look at? Now, the one that I used to think was Thomas Awesome, I'll tell you what, I've got a new Thomas Awesome, and it's the one on top. Thank you, Mattel, for fixing the Thomas franchise, finally. At the end of the video, just let me rant on here a bit. I'm going to tell you my plans on getting more of this 80th anniversary stuff. Unfortunately, it's not easy to find this stuff in store anymore. I'll explain that soon. While I'm rambling on here, I'm going to show you some Thomas & Friends glory from the past, and I've already showed you this playset in this video. You're probably watching this video right now. I'm dragging out of the archives the beautiful Thomas & Friends Trackmaster Railway Race Set. And it's one of those playsets that it had a really nice looking box. It had that Streamline and Thomas. It had the Percy with the racing stripes. But once I started to tinker with this and I started to think, wow, this is awesome. I mean, if I'm getting a great vibe from it, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of younger folk, without using the word which starts with C, who would love this playset. I think I ended up adjusting one of the track lengths on one of the circuits to make it very close racing. It had a nice Jeopardy piece in this playset as well. It ticked many, many boxes that makes a playset a fantastic thing. And best of all, this is something which is basically a major investment. If you go onto eBay and you look at the price that this playset pulls these days, it's going to freaking blow your mind. It's hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Okay, so you saw before I looked at the toy catalog how much it was when I bought it from Big W, and I love Big W. I frippin' love Big W. I wish they would partner with me. Big W, please talk to me, please. But I rarely ever have people wanting to partner with me or talk to me. In fact, if anything, they just ignore me these days. Thank you, YouTube. Anyway, I'll get on with what I'm going to say here. My plan for the rest of this week, and it's going to be a toy hunt. And for me, I've got to travel these big distances to go to the shops that carry Thomas & Friends toys, because there are so few retailers that now carry it. Thank you, Mattel, or thank you, the collapse of Toys R Us, or whatever triggered this nightmare. Or maybe thank you, All Engines Go. I think All Engines Go has a lot to do with the peril that we're in at the moment. And that's why I brought up Bob the Builder in this video, because Bob the Builder was nailed very quickly once they tinkered with the DNA. Once you start to tinker with the DNA of a show, you can cause a train wreck so fast, and it becomes so expensive on you. It's a lesson that you just do not tinker with some things. Okay, anyway, they got on to my plans. Next, I'm going to go to, and that'll be tomorrow for me, Big W at Erin Affair, and there's also a Toymate there. And I love Toymate as well, but unfortunately, they've lost a lot of their stores. Hopefully, they're going to come back. Then the day after that, I'm going to go back to that rabbit Warren called Warringah Mall, and hopefully I won't get lost this time. There's a Casey's Toys there. There's also a Big W, and well, like I said, I've got to travel, it feels like hundreds of kilometers to now go and toy hunt Thomas & Friends toys. You know, welcome to the world of 2025, Thomas & Friends toy hunting. I'm happy that I found a few items of the 80th anniversary Thomas & Friends goodies. Of course, there's more to find. This is not going to be an easy toy hunt. I've just got that feeling in my bones about this one, because I'll explain that very, very soon. I think I know what's going on here. Thank you to the YouTubers who are leaving comments explaining where this is being seen in Sydney. Often when they explain the suburb, it's a long way from the part of town where I live. I live in the northern part of Sydney. I've explained before in previous videos, there's like a Big W retailer vacuum in this part of town. I've drawn the big red circle. So for me to go to one of the good retailers that carry the stock, it's always a big drive for me. It's not as if I'm just driving down the road in the short drive. I've just got to, basically blow up a whole day to go there and then come back home. The dynamic that I believe is going on, very simple to explain, it gets back to the lack of retail space that Thomas & Friends now has and the few retailers that sell it, is if I was going to be a smart person and not a dumb person as I am, I wouldn't be grabbing this stock to show online as a YouTube video. I would be grabbing the stock from the stores and basically flicking it back online through eBay or whatever else, okay? Because you can take advantage for the fact that this stock is so hard to find. It is going to be popular. I can tell by seeing it now naturally in hand. This stuff looks awesome. You cannot go wrong with this style of Thomas & Friends toys. This is what we needed like 6 years ago. This is what we needed 10 years ago, to be more cutting there, okay? Because the direction that we've been going in, especially the last 10 years, has been a very, very, very strange direction. And for the past 6 years, it has been a complete and utter train wreck. So what I would do to get back on track here, to think about how I could make easy money here, is very simple. Go to the few retailers in Sydney who are selling this stuff. I think just about everything you pick up is going to be easy to resell and go and flog it online. Very simple to do. And if you're smarter than me, you're going to probably make a lot more money than me. I'm not bent that way. I probably couldn't sleep at night picking up something for $20 and then reselling it for $100. Some people are comfortable doing that. But I'll pick up something for $20 and I'll go and show it on YouTube, and maybe I'll get paid $15 for showing it. Unfortunately, that's the style of economy these days that I work to. Welcome to YouTube 2025, and thank you, Mattel, for what looks like a beautiful re-rendering of Thomas and Friends toys as they should be seen. Finally!
Finally! How do you flippin' finish a video by saying the word finally? What does it finally flippin' mean? Finally is a word you use to start a video. I'll give you an example. Finally, this clown has found the 80th anniversary Thomas and Friends stuff that everyone else on the planet has found before him. Finally, this clown has lost his frickin' mind. That's how you use the word finally. You don't use the word finally by saying finally at the end of the video. It makes no frickin' finally sense. Anyway, come over class, I'll tell you a bit of a story. Don't get too close, because I look so stupid without my stupid little red hat. Anyway, this clown has been shattered because I've smashed up his precious 2019 chocolate Thomas that he was trying to hold up for a millennium to show you, hey look, I'm the only person on the planet with a chocolate Thomas. Well, guess what? He's the only person on the planet with a totally smashed up, totally stuffed up, totally destroyed chocolate Thomas. He should be proud, and I've got a new friend in the workshop, and my friend is called Mr. Hammer. Oh my goodness me, we make a great partnership. We're like the perfect pigeon pair, and I'm gonna end this video with something worthwhile watching, and we're gonna rejoice because I cracked this clown. He was crying his heart out. He was crying for days after his precious chocolate Thomas has smashed to smithereens. We're gonna finish this video, and I'm gonna show you the chocolate Thomas getting smashed to smithereens in slow motion. Yes, I've got edit control here. This clown's got no control. If I had control, I would have started with the word finally. I found the Thomas 80th anniversary set. No. This flipping clown has to finish a video with the word finally. Well, finally, let's get to the slow motion. Hey, Mr. Hammer. Come with me for a moment. Look behind us. We've got some work to do. Oh, we're gonna have a smashing good time. Okay, roll the chocolate smashing slow-mo.